Transit. Well, welcome to my home. My name is Violet Duncan. I'm Plains Korean Taino, and I'd like to share with you some of our creative spaces. We are a family of 6, and this is where the magic happens. This is our dining room, our classroom, our sewing lab, and my writing studio. One day we'll be able to close the door and have our own studio, but until then, this is what we're using right now. I'd like to share with you some of the stuff that we're working on currently. If you want to come around over here, you'll see what my point of view looks like. We have my sewing machine that I tuck underneath when I'm writing, but most of the time it's been out because a lot of times we've been working on masks. We're talking with our children a lot of what's happening and how to be safe and social distance, and that means what the masks are all about. So here's some of our materials ready to go. Some of them are cut out. These are the ones that are finished. And we want to make sure that our kids are comfortable with the masks that they're making. So we make sure that they like the designs or the fabric that we choose. This is the youth design. As we use the different materials, this opened up the doorway to make dolls. These dolls come with some of their own matching masks, but here we are. The girls wanted to have dolls that look like them with the ribbon skirts and hair that could be braided. So these are now added to our inventory. Another thing that was important was hand washing. Now that we're hand washing a lot more, we started to make our own soap here. We use lavender sage and sweetgrass, and this way we can talk about our traditional medicines and talking about hand washing as well. So we also have these two available on my Etsy store or also on my website. Over here it gets a little bit crazy. All of the things that we need for every project is tucked away in this corner. So right from the top, we have here the tapestries and the wall art that we started to create. It's called Young Warriors Wall Art. We wanted to make sure that children out there, especially Native children, can see themselves represented on the walls in their bedrooms, and that they can have full color and feel proud when they go into their own spaces. The number one question I get asked a lot is, how do you do your children's book? So come around and I'll share with you how we do that. So I have written and illustrated 3 children's books, and all of them have been self-published. I know a lot of people out there are wondering how to do this process, and it's actually very, very easy. The first book that I wrote is When We Dance. We were inspired to write it because when my youngest daughter, Minaya, was learning how to dance, we wanted a nice and simple way to talk to her about what it means to dance, to have respect for all things, to dance for the people, for our ancestors, and for those yet unborn. So we wrote this children's book in honor of that. Then we had our son, and he came out as a hoop dancer. He danced everywhere, so we had to write his children's book about hoop dancing. This one was really important to us because as we go to practice, there he is hoop dancing at the grocery store. As we go into practice, we don't get our full regalia on. We just wear basketball shorts and a t-shirt, and that was actually really surprising to people, as they usually see hoop dancers in full regalia. So this is how we practice, just like basketball practice or soccer practice. This is what we do in our backyard. I Am Native is my newest children's book. It just came out March 2020. When we wrote this, it was to show our children and other children and our neighbors that we walk this fine road of balance, that we have our traditional ways of making. Here she makes bannock with her great-grandmother, and here we're in a modern kitchen and she's working with her grandmother. Here we have the different forms of artwork like beadwork and learning from your parents, and then painting, all the different art forms, cradle boards, and there's a little bit of history, what they mean, and then we go way to the back in the index, we learn the definitions. So to know that teepees are not homes to all Native tribes, they're only homes to a few, and what beadwork is, what Native actually defines. This is me and my husband, who are featured in the children's book. This one took about 3 years to make, and it all starts with your story. So if you have a story, it doesn't matter how nice and neat, if it's typewritten or if it's handwritten. All my stories generally look like this. I just get inspired one day and I start to write, and maybe we start to illustrate a little bit. After that story is written out, I type it up, send it to an editor, and I get all the typos figured out and the story figured out, and then I start to create the storyboard. Now, this goes to show you that anybody can do this. These are my illustrations. Seriously. Stick people. Yeah. This is what I wanted in the book. And to make this come alive, I had to learn how to work Photoshop. I learned that through YouTube and Google, and you can too. After we figured out all of that, I contacted, I went to FedEx first and Kinko's. You printed off what you've illustrated on the computer, and we go through this. This is like a 3-5 step process where we go in and we look at our typos, what we want brighter. So you'll see all the stickers here about all of our edits. And then after that one is done, we do it again, we edit it again. You can see that there's lots and lots of edits. So these are our drafts. I shop these books to my family and to relatives and to friends, and then they get me their feedback, and then we go to the printer. There's this format that you can just find anywhere on Google on how to make your cover. It gets a little bit tricky because this is a hardcover, so it needs the blue all the way around it. But they help you walk through it at the printer place, and then they give you this proof. And it's just the version, what your book will look like when it's printed. As you can see, there's still typos and little things that got left behind, so all these stickers are sticking up, so the editing never ends. And once we go to that, then the printer says it's good to go, and you give it a thumbs up, and then they print it. And you have your hardcover here. So if you ever want to get your own children's books out there, you have a story to tell, I recommend you, please, we need more. Representation matters, and we need your stories. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, I'm Violet Duncan, and this is some of my creative spaces.
We love you. Bye.